It's just in time for 4th of July, and this frozen cheesecake on a stick is the perfect frozen treat to beat the heat. These creamy triangles are dipped into a chocolatey coating, similar to Magic Shell, and finished off with your favorite toppings and drizzles. I also show you how to achieve a strawberry flavored chocolate that is absolutely amazing with the cheesecake. So be sure to keep on watching! First, we're going to start by making our graham cracker crust. It's so much easier to use the crumbs that are pre-crushed right from the box. So let's add in 3/4 cup of those with 2 tablespoons of sugar and give that a good mix. Next, we need to melt 3 tablespoons of butter and combine that with the graham cracker mixture until it is the texture of a wet sand. Of course, if you don't have the pre-made crumbs, you can crush up your own graham crackers in the food processor or by hand, but this way you can't beat how quick and simple it is. Now we can go ahead and press this into our pan. I recommend any 6-inch cheesecake pan or springform pan. This one pushes up from the bottom so we don't ruin the top of our pretty cheesecake. Just make sure to grease your pan really well and line the bottom with a sheet of parchment paper to prevent any sticking. The pan will be all ready to go for the crumbs. First, I like to evenly spread them out before packing them down to ensure there's enough to go all around and not too much on one side. Then you can begin pressing with a cup to pack it in. There's no need to bring it up the sides since we are putting the cheesecake on sticks and we don't want to break the crust. You are going to love how buttery this smells in the oven. Let's pop it into bake for 8 minutes at 350 degrees while we prepare this silky and delicious cheesecake filling. And guys, I wanted to welcome my new viewers recently. It's so great to have you here. So make sure you join the party and subscribe for new fun recipes and tutorials every week. The key for the filling is to have all of your ingredients at room temperature. Here I have 2 8-ounce packages of cream cheese and I'm beating them with my hand mixer to soften that up. And once that's done, to make the cheesecake extra creamy, I'm pouring in 7 ounces of sweetened condensed milk and 1/4 cup of sour cream. I suggest to alternate between mixing with your hand mixer and by hand with a spatula to prevent overmixing, which can form extra air pockets that create cracks in your cheesecake, so it's never a bad idea to take over with the spatula. Going in next are some dry ingredients, just 1 tablespoon of cornstarch and 1 tablespoon of flour. I sift them in with a sieve to eliminate any clumps and finish by folding by hand. Our last ingredients are 1 tablespoon of clear vanilla extract. It's all according to your preference, but I use clear so we don't discolor the cheesecake. And also you want to beat in 2 whole eggs, 1 at a time, until everything is incorporated. And the result is a silky smooth, beautiful filling that makes the most perfect and creamy cheesecake. I'm pouring the batter on top of our crust that should be cooled down from the oven by now, and tap the pan to settle out the filling. But before we get to baking, one very important step to preventing cracks is to make a water bath by placing the cheesecake pan inside of 2 bigger pans, or you can wrap the outside in foil. Just make sure not to get any of the water underneath the pan that has the cheesecake because it can make your crust soggy. And remember, the water is hot, so always be careful when doing this. You should bake your cheesecake for anywhere between an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and 30 minutes. Keep your oven door open for an hour before taking the cheesecake out. It should have a slight jiggle to the center and not be browned at all. Keep in mind the firmer the cheesecake the better, so be patient and allow it to chill overnight before removing it from the pan. Either push the bottom or release the spring on your springform pan. It looks so amazing so far and has no cracks. All we need to do is slice it up. I divide mine into 8 sections like a pizza pie, and I can't stress enough that having it firm definitely helps achieve a clean cut and prevents the cheesecake from falling apart when we add the popsicle sticks. The sticks should be inserted at least halfway through, starting from the end with the edge. All that's missing is the chocolatey shell coating. I'm so excited to dip them in there, but for best results, I freeze these for about 3 to 4 hours first. And today we are doing something a bit different. This recipe is similar to a magic shell and is best used on frozen treats. It is not ideal for dipping strawberries and has a combination of a chocolate bar and Ghirardelli chocolate melts. I chopped up 7.5 ounces of each so that they melt faster. And the best part is you could purchase both of them from your local grocery store. Here I chopped up 7.5 ounces of Lindt white chocolate, and I'm doing the same with 7.5 ounces of Ghirardelli white melting wafers. What also makes this concoction a bit different is we will be adding in some refined coconut oil, and you will notice it has more of a runny consistency than usual. For the method, I'm taking 4.5 tablespoons of the coconut oil and microwaving the mixture for a round of 30 seconds. After stirring it, continue by microwaving in 10-second intervals until completely smooth. Definitely take your time since you don't want the chocolate to go above 90 degrees or the shell can crack after you dip them. My tips and tricks are to work as quickly as possible. I dip into a deep mug, wipe off the excess, and sprinkle on my toppings immediately because it sets literally in the blink of an eye. And no worries if you made a mess with the sprinkles, you can always brush the extra right off. For these 4th of July themed treats, I use assorted jimmies and star sprinkles from my local cake supply store. My favorite by far is the strawberry flavored chocolate. For the red color, I'm using powder candy coloring. It does take a lot of product, and normally I recommend something oil-based to dye your chocolate. However, I don't want to knock off the proportions of the coconut oil and chocolate by adding in more oil. I also mixed in 1/4 teaspoon of delicious strawberry flavoring. It tastes exactly like a strawberry bonnet from Carvel. And to drizzle, I put the strawberry into a squeeze bottle for the best control. Another tip is to make trips to the freezer right after dipping each one so they don't start to sweat. Last but not least is the royal blue color, and by the way, I will be sure to link all the products in the description box. Again, when you dip the cheesecake, wipe the extra onto the side of the mug and decorate with your favorite sprinkles or make it drizzle using steady pressure and back and forth motions with a squeeze bottle. You will love working with this chocolate, especially in the squeeze bottle because it stays looser at a lower temperature than the candy melts. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and it gave you some 4th of July inspiration. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It's Christina here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.